Welcome everyone to the first of many dev diaries we're gonna look through. As the title says, a Nordic themed Hoi 4 DLC is finally happening. This wish of the community after years is confirmed at last. So let's look through this dev diary to see what Finland is gonna be about. It's a bit condensed, so I'll only say what matters, so that you don't have to read a mini novel that the diaries usually are. Also, I'm gonna make a review video for every single Hoi 4 expansion released, and by the time I finished, Arms Against Tyranny will have probably been released. I've already made 2 of these, but I'm gonna continue with Together for Victory and go in order. Anyways, let's see the dev diary already. So the DLC is called Arms Against Tyranny. I like that. Even more than EU4's Lions of the North. Arms obviously refers to guns, but also to the military industry organizations, or MIOs, we're gonna get into soon. Against Tyranny again obviously refers to the Axis nations and to the Soviet Union, who Finland is gonna fight in the Winter War, where the snow speaks Finnish. And of course these 3 words sound cool next to one another, which is applicable to all other expansions too, and is important to me at least. So, Finland will now start with Per Evinsvinhufvud as the leader instead of Kyösti Kallio. Even though the country was democratic IRL, Finland in-game is gonna start non-aligned, but with elections, so they don't immediately join the Allies when the Soviet Union attacks them. When someone's term is up, you get an event to replace or re-elect them. Finland, as you might know, starts with this awesome national spirit called Sisu, which gives some borderline OP bonuses for the Winter War. You will still start with this, but a weaker version, which you will be able to improve to a level even better than now, using the balance of power mechanic, which is used to measure the popularity the current leader has. Gotta say, I love these pictures where the guy's head is just fractured into lots of pieces. Finland's 5 total non-aligned leaders, whose name I will now attempt to pronounce, are the aforementioned Per Evinsvinhufvud, Kyösti Kallio, Risto Heikki Ritti, Juho Justi Paasikivi, and of course Carl G. Mannerheim. They all have a special personal agenda trait which tells you how they want to run the country. If you fulfill their wishes, they get more public trust. If you don't, they become unpopular. Also, every single one of them cares for Finnish sovereignty except for Mannerheim. Also, you have the tons and tons of new advisors with funky new traits such as Model Kagender and Hurya Hilya. Same goes for chiefs of the military and generals, who start with a few or a lot of terrain traits already under their belt. Here's a list for Finnish military industrial organizations. This is very much work in progress, as Paradox said. But if you don't know, MIOs will be some sort of international market where you can buy guns for civs, so neutral countries still have a purpose to live for, and it will replace the diplomacy button because everyone just right-clicks countries. Of course, they're adding more states, but the interesting thing is that Åland is demilitarized because IRL, the League of Nations, wanted it to be. You can remilitarize and fortify it with a focus, but why would anyone do so? Now comes what I was most curious about, the focus tree. We can see all of it, just the historical, industrial and military branches, but at least we get to see how large it will be. The industrial branch is what you would expect, factories, infrastructure, construction, bonuses, but also they unlock traits for your leader. The army branch is of course research bonuses, doctrine reductions, forts and stuff, and this is where you can remilitarize and fortify Åland with Operation Kilpapurjehdus, but only if the world tension is over 70%, at which point you've probably got bigger problems than remilitarizing some random island. Also, as with pretty much every DLC, the updated countries have at least a few country-ruining national spirits, and it seems it's gonna be the case this time too, because you'll be able to improve the Finnish army. It seems tanks will now have presets, which is a godsend for me because I have no idea what I'm doing when designing anything. I'm guessing this will also apply to ships and planes. You'll have these state decisions that give some massive bonuses, but each time you take them, they'll become twice as expensive. With the Winter War focus, you'll unlock the Winter Logistics Company, which is basically a snowmobile support company that gives quite some extra defense and cold acclimatization. Also, there's a long-range patrol company that's similar to the Winter Logistics Company, but they don't like the cold as much, but like to initiate battles. And if these bonuses weren't enough, they can improve with the Sissy focus. There's also a national spirit with a very unique icon called Sami Pathfinders, which grants some movement bonuses. The air and navy branches just give some research, MIO bonuses, aces, dockyards, and so on, and they seem very little. Or at least I said it was small until I modded it into the game. I mean, that's not really that huge, but it's not that small either. You'll have decisions to refit convoys into weak ships, so that's cool that you don't directly have to produce them. Now, what is actually interesting, the political branch. You can join the Allies 4 focuses in, granted that you have enough democratic support, or be a lone wolf, which gives some good bonuses, but you're not allowed to create or join factions, but at least it has a very cool icon. The rest of this branch is getting help from Germany, which is what happened historically. Some people even consider Finland as an Axis member. You can hide weapon caches in these other state decisions that give some resistance problems to the invaders. You can also call Sweden for support and get 31,000 manpower in the course of a year for free. As you know, the Soviet Union will send an ultimatum to Finland around 1939, demanding Karjala. If Finland refuses, the Winter War will start, and Finland will get a very powerful national spirit to defend themselves. If they can hold Leningrad or Moscow for 30 days, they can demand some territorial concessions, which if the Soviets refuse, they get one more crippling national spirit to add to the rest. And that's about it for this dev diary. I hope this video has been informative, and I'm very much looking forward to this DLC. If you enjoyed this video, then comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye everyone.